In this short video, I'm going to be talking about the vagus nerve, the deep connection between your stress levels and your pelvic floor health, and how all of this relates to your pregnancy and postnatal health and well-being. Now, I'm not a pelvic health physio or neuroscientist. I mean, clearly I'm not a neuroscientist, but I have been working with the pregnant and postnatal population long enough to know this connection does exist. And I've seen firsthand the effect this connection can have on pelvic floor health and sexual function, which then contributes to mental health and well-being, which is why I want to bring awareness to this connection and share 2 of my top 3 breathing techniques that I teach every woman I work with. So if you're currently pregnant or in your postnatal recovery journey, this video and these breathing techniques are absolutely for you. And there's likely no other time in your life where more emphasis is placed on your pelvic floor than during pregnancy and your postpartum recovery period, your maternal metamorphosis. And we also know, with statistics showing 1 in 5 women experiencing perinatal mental health issues, that this time is filled with change, uncertainty, increased stress and anxiety, feelings of loneliness and overwhelm. And all of these things have a physiological effect on our bodies, including your pelvic floor, which, as you know, is vital in birthing your baby, sexual function, going to the bathroom, and supporting your internal pelvic organs. And this intersection between your mental, emotional, and physical well-being is exactly where your vagus nerve and autonomic nervous system come into play. So the vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve that travels from our brainstem to our pelvis and is responsible for controlling many functions in your body, including heart rate, digestion, and breathing, just to name a few. It also links our autonomic nervous system to our emotions and behavior. So the vagus nerve contains 3 distinct subsystems: the dorsal vagal, the sympathetic nervous system, and ventral vagal. And it's really important to understand that these systems aren't switches that get turned on and off. They're constantly active and act more like a dial, kind of like a dimmer switch or volume control on an old school stereo, right? And I promise this all ties back to your pelvic floor, so stay with me here. The dorsal vagal system is the most primitive of these 3 systems. And when the sympathetic nervous system is too aroused, the dorsal vagal nerve can completely shut down the entire system. So it's almost designed to immobilize or freeze and conserve energy while in this shutdown state. And I want you to think like a deer caught in headlights, right? And remember, this is like a dimmer switch. And without fear dialing it right up, this system has a very positive function in helping the body gently move between arousal and relaxation. And then you have the sympathetic nervous system, and I want you to think fight or flight here. So when this system is activated, it prepares you for running or fighting. So your heart rate increases, your breathing rate increases, blood is shunted to your limbs, your digestion slows, and in terms of your pelvis, it prevents you from peeing, pooping, closes the cervix, and even prevents the flow of menstrual blood. I mean, the body never ever ceases to amaze me. Then, of course, you have the ventral vagal system. And this branch of the vagus nerve makes up about 75% of your parasympathetic nervous system, which relates to our rest and digest state. It also acts kind of like your social engagement system, right? And it's also really important to know both the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves are embedded within the pelvic fascia. That's really important. So this vitally important nerve, which is responsible for so many emotional and physiological responses, finishes in our pelvis. It also directly affects your breathing via your diaphragm, which, if you've been following me for long enough, you'll know that your diaphragm is the top of your core and your pelvic floor is the bottom. So your breathing pattern and pelvic floor tie together via your vagus nerve, whether you're in fight, flight, freeze, or rest and digest. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, you're fatigued, you're not getting enough sleep, and you're facing a lot of uncertainty in life, all of these things will reflect in your nervous system, which can lead to changes in your breathing pattern as well as tension in your pelvic floor. And being a muscle, the relaxation of your pelvic floor is just as important as the ability to contract. So to be able to strengthen a weak pelvic floor, you need to be able to contract and relax it. Now, to relax a tight pelvic floor, you need to have the capacity for it to drop down and lengthen. And when it comes to birthing your baby, your pelvic floor needs to stretch up to 3 times its usual length. So absolutely has to have the ability to relax in order to do that. And the connection with your breath comes into play when you take deep belly breaths, allowing air to fill your lungs, expand your belly and rib cage. So this causes your pelvic floor muscles to drop down and lengthen. It also helps stimulate your ventral vagal branch of your parasympathetic nervous system, those deep belly breaths. So diaphragmatic breathing helps you switch out of sympathetic nervous system fight or flight and into a parasympathetic rest and digest state. And this breathing technique also allows your pelvic floor muscles to drop down and lengthen, which is what you need your pelvic floor to do regardless of whether you need to strengthen a weak pelvic floor or relax a hypertonic pelvic floor or a tight pelvic floor. Now, of course, the only way you're going to know which one you need to do is by visiting the Specialist Women's Health Physio, which should be part of your pregnancy and postnatal journey. But having a practice that helps manage your stress and encourages the lengthening of your pelvic floor is really important, which is why I encourage all the women I work with, irrespective of where they are on their pregnancy or postnatal journeys, to use the following 2 breathing techniques. The first one is box breathing, where you inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold empty for 4, which would look like this. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold empty for 4, 3, 2, 1. And of course, you can repeat this for as many breaths as you like. And with this, you can slowly start increasing the time if you want to. So you can start at 4 seconds and then move on to 5 and 6, etc., etc. Then you have the 4-7-8 breathing method, where you inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, and exhale for 8. So that would look like this. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And there are 2 positions that I encourage when doing these breathing techniques. So one is seated with one hand on your chest and one hand on your diaphragm. The other is in a juicy chest stretch position. So during pregnancy, you would want to be in a yoga block chest stretch or postnatally on the foam roller. And both these techniques can be used in any situation where you feel your stress levels rising. And I might even use this at the beginning of, say, a face-to-face coaching session if a client has arrived late or is feeling stressed or anxious. I've even had clients implement these breathing techniques into the start of their work team meetings. And I genuinely believe understanding the connection between your stress levels, pelvic floor, and vagus nerve is really important for you going through this transformative time. So I really hope this video helped. And of course, if you'd like more in-depth pregnancy-specific content, feel free to apply to my complimentary but private community, the Preggy Training Crew. The link is in my bio.